Dear Radiant Leo, child of the sun, leader of light, keeper of courage. What if I told you your biggest breakthrough is already in motion and the universe has chosen this very moment to show you how to claim it? This video isn't just another weekly horoscope, it's a cosmic message coded just for you. And no, you didn't click this by accident. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where astrology meets purpose, and the messages reach the soul. Today's reading, titled Leo, Your Biggest Win is Coming. This week changes everything. June 9-15 marks a turning point in your inner and outer world. The stars have aligned, and something within you, perhaps quiet, perhaps roaring, has guided you here. That voice you've been hearing in the back of your mind? It's not just intuition. It's destiny knocking on your door. This week's energy is alive with opportunity, breakthrough, and magnetic transformation. But here's the catch: it all starts from within. You're not here to be rescued. You're here to remember who you are. Leo, you are the flame in the dark, the one who leads not because you seek attention but because you embody authenticity. And in the next few minutes, we'll journey through insights from the cosmos, messages from the tarot, the gentle truth of numerology, and even healing principles rooted in mindfulness and Buddhist wisdom. We're not just going to predict, we're going to empower. You may be feeling a shift lately. Something in your energy has changed. Maybe it's an old doubt rising again. Maybe it's the feeling that something new is calling louder than ever. Whatever brought you here, trust that it's part of your soul's unfolding path. Before we go deeper, take a moment to ground your presence here. In the comments, write, "I am ready to receive my biggest win." This simple affirmation is more than just words, it's a signal to the universe that you're awake, aligned, and open. And allow me to take a heartfelt moment to thank you. Every like you leave, every comment you share, every time you subscribe or send this video to someone who needs light, it builds something sacred. This community, our Eternal Mindfulness family, exists because of you. Because you said yes to your inner work, your higher path, and your deeper truth. Your support doesn't just lift this channel, it amplifies the frequency of love and awareness that we send into the collective. So thank you, from the depth of my soul, for being here. And trust me, Leo, want to stay with me until the very end, because what the universe is revealing this week, it's nothing short of extraordinary. A chapter is closing. A door is opening. A light, your light is ready to rise. Now tell me, my courageous Leo friends, what called you here today? Share your story, your vibe, or even just a single word in the comments. Let's begin this journey together. Leo, as we gently continue from where we left off, there's something sacred stirring within you, something that asks not for action first, but for attention. You see, every great outward transformation begins as a quiet movement within. And in this moment, the cards aren't just revealing energies, they are offering a mirror to the very center of your being. The first message of this week calls you home, not to a place, but to a state of inner clarity. It's a reminder that your mind, your awareness, is not a battlefield to win or a tool to control, but a throne from which your life is ruled. What you entertain in that sacred space, those inner conversations, the silent agreements you make with your fears or your dreams, shapes the entire kingdom of your experience. Energy flows where attention goes. And this week, you are being gently asked to look with honesty and softness at where your attention has been lingering. Has it been circling the shadows, doubts, regrets, comparisons, or is it resting in the warmth of possibility, gratitude, and presence? The number 1, the sacred symbol of beginnings, arrives as a whisper of leadership not just in the outer world, but in the landscape of your own mind. You are not being called to follow, you are being asked to lead from within. That leadership doesn't have to be loud or public. It might look like choosing a thought that nourishes you instead of one that drains you. It might be as simple as pausing before you react, and breathing before you speak. That, too, is power. The golden orange hue tied to this energy holds a quiet majesty. It is the color of inner fire, of sunrise strength, of confidence that doesn't need validation to shine. Surround yourself with this frequency. Wear it, visualize it, imagine your thoughts bathed in it. Let it melt away the belief that you have to prove yourself. You don't. You simply have to return to yourself. There's a teaching here, one that has echoed through centuries of wise hearts. The way to conquer the world is to first understand the mind. Not by suppressing it, not by trying to stop the thoughts, but by observing them like clouds in a wide sky, allowing them to pass without judgment or resistance. The more you return to this witnessing presence, the more space you create. And in that space, your truest voice rises. This week, if you do nothing else, give yourself 10 quiet minutes each morning. Sit with a pen and ask, what am I proud of in myself today? It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe you got out of bed when it was hard. Maybe you showed patience when it wasn't easy. These small recognitions are seeds of worthiness. And when you plant them regularly, they bloom into unshakable self-trust. Remember, Leo, your light isn't something you need to chase. It's something you uncover by being still, by listening inward, by recognizing that your presence just as it is already powerful. Your thoughts are not your enemy, they are your compass. And when guided by awareness, they point you back to your path again and again. Let this be the week you choose to rule your kingdom not from urgency, but from clarity. Let your mind become a sanctuary not just for yourself, but for every intention you are ready to call in. Because when your inner world becomes aligned, your outer world has no choice but to follow. Leo, as we journey deeper into this week's unfolding message, you're invited to soften not because you are weak, but because your strength is already undeniable. The time has come to remember that true power doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it exhales. Sometimes, it releases its grip. And sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is allow things to unfold without needing to control every step of the way. You've carried so much, haven't you? The expectations, the responsibilities, the silent pressure to always lead, to always shine, to always be the one others can lean on. But this week, the energy around you asks something very different. It asks you to surrender not in defeat, but in wisdom. Because surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means you've grown wise enough to know that forcing things rarely brings peace. And the truth is, peace is not found in perfect outcomes, it's found in spaciousness, in allowing, in trust. There is a rhythm to life that only reveals itself when we stop trying to rush the tempo. And Leo, you of all signs know the beauty of divine timing. Just as the sun does not rise before its time, neither do your blessings. But they are coming. They always have been. The question is, can you relax into the present moment enough to receive them when they do? You don't have to hold everything so tightly anymore. You don't have to figure it all out today. The universe is not testing you, it's supporting you, in subtle and unseen ways. Like the wind behind a sail, it moves you forward when you stop fighting the current. And when you trust that movement, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. If your body has felt tense lately, if your thoughts have been racing or looping, that's a signal not that something is wrong, but that something wants to be released. Your nervous system is asking for space to recalibrate. Try practicing the 4-7-8 breath at night. 4 seconds in, hold for 7, and release for 8. Let it be your reset button. Let it be a gentle reminder that your breath belongs to you. It is your anchor when everything else feels out of reach. Support your body as you support your spirit. A simple shift in nourishment mint to calm, turmeric to soothe inflammation, avocado for its grounding richness can speak volumes to your inner self. These are not just foods, they are messengers, offering support from the inside out. This moment, right now, is not asking you to do more. It's asking you to trust more. And in that trust, you'll start to feel a quiet guidance emerging not from outside sources, but from within your own presence. That is the voice you can believe. That is the knowing you've been seeking. There's a beautiful teaching: the tighter you hold the rope, the more your hands burn. But when you loosen your grip, even for a moment, you allow the pain to ease and the possibility of a new path to appear. Let that image live in you this week. Let it remind you that surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom in motion. So if everything feels uncertain, if plans are shifting or silence is echoing louder than usual, breathe. Say to yourself, not with urgency, but with quiet conviction, I trust that everything is unfolding at the right time, in the right way. Then pause. And let the stillness guide your next step. Because it will. It always does. As we continue moving through this week's energetic landscape, something quieter but far more essential begins to emerge. Leo, you've always been known for your brilliance, your ability to light up rooms, to lead from the heart, to carry others through storms without flinching. But beneath all that outward strength is a deeper truth waiting to be honored, the part of you that longs not to perform, but simply to be. There may be a role you've been playing for so long that it no longer feels like a choice, it feels like a costume that's begun to shape your skin. Maybe it's a title, a relationship, a version of yourself that once fit but now feels too tight, too scripted. The breaking free doesn't always come with fanfare. It often begins as a subtle discomfort, a whisper from within saying, "This isn't who I am anymore." That quiet realization is your power. It's your call to come home to your essence, not the image. To stop measuring your worth by how much you do or how well you're received, and instead, start honoring what feels real, even if it's raw. This isn't about abandoning everything and everyone. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that have gone silent in order to keep the peace or maintain appearances. There is deep wisdom in recognizing when a version of yourself has served its purpose. And rather than resisting that awareness, you're invited to meet it with compassion. Like a snake shedding its skin, growth is not rejection of the past, it is honoring the past by evolving beyond it. You don't lose your identity by releasing what no longer aligns. You reveal it. Transformation doesn't require drama. It asks for stillness, reflection, and an honest encounter with your truth. And sometimes, that truth is gentle. It says, "I'm tired of pretending. I want to live in alignment with what I really feel. That kind of honesty creates space to breathe, space to move differently, space to choose again. You are not here to impress others with perfection. You are here to express the most authentic version of yourself, even if it trembles at first. When you start to live from that space, synchronicity becomes your compass. You may have noticed subtle signals, a repeating number like 555, the sudden appearance of a butterfly crossing your path. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They show up when something inside you has already shifted, when you're beginning to match the frequency of your next chapter. And yet, even with all this guidance around you, the real work begins within. I invite you to take one quiet moment this week to sit with yourself and write, "Who am I without fear?" Let the answer come slowly, without judgment. Let it reveal the strength you've been hiding and the softness you've been protecting. In doing so, you begin to reclaim the pieces of you that never needed to be fixed, only remembered. There is a practice that speaks of returning to what is most essential, not adding more, but subtracting what is false. Like clouds parting to reveal the sky, when you let go of what is not yours, your true nature comes forward effortlessly. That is what this week asks of you. Not to fight, but to allow. Not to perform, but to become. And in that becoming, Leo, your light will no longer feel like a performance, it will simply feel like home. You were never meant to live inside a role. You were meant to live in truth. And the more you do, the more life begins to align with your heart, not your image. That's not just growth. That's freedom. And freedom, as it turns out, was never outside of you. It was always waiting within. After the quiet courage of returning to your truth, Leo, there's something deeply healing in simply honoring how far you've come. We often wait for grand victories to allow ourselves celebration, as if only flawless achievements are worthy of joy. But your journey, with all its pivots and pauses, deserves recognition now. Even if the mountaintop still feels far away, even if the destination hasn't taken full shape, there is beauty in each step you've taken. And this week, the energy invites you to pause, not because you've finished, but because your heart has carried you farther than you realize. There's a subtle wisdom in understanding that celebration isn't just about the result, it's an acknowledgement of effort, resilience, and the invisible growth no one else may see. Like the king who returns from battle not always unscarred, but always transformed, you, too, deserve a moment to sit with yourself and say, "I did that. I kept going." That act alone shifts your energy. It creates space for more of what you desire to enter, because you're no longer waiting to feel worthy, you're realizing you always were. This is the essence of presence, seeing the sacred in the small, the ordinary, the becoming. It's easy to overlook our own progress when we're focused on what's next. But there's a teaching that speaks to this beautifully. When you stop chasing perfection, you begin to embody completeness. You realize your light doesn't have to be blinding to be meaningful. It just has to be yours. Real, warm, and human. The number 33 carries the vibration of inner mastery. It's the quiet encouragement that you're not alone, that unseen support surrounds you in ways you may not always recognize. You don't have to hear applause to validate your worth. The simple act of recognizing yourself, of giving yourself the kindness you so freely give to others, is a spiritual recalibration. It reminds your nervous system that it's safe to be proud, to soften, to be seen. Try something this week that may feel small but is deeply powerful. Take 5 minutes, sit with yourself, and name one thing, just one, that you're proud of. Speak it aloud. Feel it land. Whether it's a habit you broke, a moment you stayed kind when it was hard, or the fact that you're still trying, that matters. That counts. This isn't about ego. It's about wholeness. It's about reclaiming joy not as a reward, but as a rhythm. When we shift from performance to presence, we stop waiting for some external moment to prove our value. We begin to live in appreciation. And appreciation opens the door to more than just gratitude, it opens the door to receiving. Because when you vibrate at the frequency of worthiness, life starts responding in kind. Which brings us to what's next. The moment of invitation. The Ace of Wands appears not just as a symbol of possibility but as a call to action. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready or perfect. It arrives when your heart has ripened enough to say yes, even while your hands are still shaking. This energy is the spark. It might show up as a creative impulse, a job offer, a bold idea, or a conversation that shifts something inside you. Don't dismiss it because it seems too small. Many of life's most powerful transformations begin as whispers. And yes, in love, too, there may be an unexpected opening. A confession. A truth you feel rising that can no longer stay hidden. Whatever form it takes, this is not the time to wait for certainty. This is the time to honor your readiness through action. So take the step. Trust the stirring. Say yes, even if it's a quiet one. And affirm to yourself, I act from the heart and welcome what is good. Because Leo, your light isn't waiting to be perfect, it's waiting to be expressed. And the moment you do, doors will open that you didn't even know existed. And now, beloved Leo, as we arrive at the close of this journey together, I want you to pause for a moment, just long enough to notice how you feel right now. Has something softened? Has something awakened? Maybe it's just a flicker, or maybe it's a roaring flame, but either way, it's real. That's your light. That's your power gently reminding you that it has never truly left, it was just waiting for you to remember. You see, Leo, you don't have to wait for some perfect sign, for someone else's permission, or for the world to catch up with your dreams. You are the spark. You are the turning point. Every small choice you make in alignment with your truth sends ripples through your life. Every breath you take with presence, every thought you choose with intention, every moment you pause to honor yourself, that is how transformation begins. What if this week, instead of doubting, you committed to trusting just a little more? What if you followed through on one small promise to yourself, the journal entry, the breath work, the leap into the unknown? What if you stopped waiting to be more and started acting as if you already are enough? Because you are. You always have been. The journey isn't about becoming someone new, it's about removing everything that's not truly you. So I ask you now, from one soul to another, what part of your life are you ready to reclaim? What truth inside you is asking to be heard, honored, and lived out loud? And most importantly, are you willing to celebrate yourself before the world gives you a reason to? You don't need to chase your crown, Leo, it's already yours. And this week, you've been handed the tools to realign with it. From anchoring your mind, to surrendering control, to shedding old identities, to celebrating your courage and taking aligned action. Each part of this reading has been designed to bring you back to the throne of your own life. But only you can choose to sit in it. I want to thank you genuinely for being here with me, for choosing presence, for choosing yourself. Every like you leave, every comment you share, every time you subscribe or pass this video along to someone who needs it, you help grow something far beyond algorithms. You nurture the very heart of this space. Eternal Mindfulness, a channel created not just for information, but for inner alignment, clarity, and healing. So if this reading spoke to you, even in a small way, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It means more than you know, and it allows us to continue bringing you grounded, soulful messages like this one. And if you feel called, share this with someone whose light deserves to shine just as much as yours. Now, before we part ways, I want to hear from you. What part of this message landed deepest for you today? What action are you going to take this week to step more fully into your light? Leave me a comment below and let me know. You never know who else you might inspire by sharing your voice. And if you're ready to step forward, to claim your space, to move in the direction of your truest self, just type, "I am ready to walk in my light." Because that one sentence may just be the beginning of a whole new chapter. Until next time, Leo, stay bold, stay grounded, and never forget. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle. I'll see you in the next video, where your heart's awakening continues.